Welcome to the Hypnotize Me podcast. February is the month of love, and we are focusing on hypnosis for childbirth this month. I have several interviews lined up for you with women who use hypnosis to have easier, better births, and we are starting off with a bang with an interview with Dr. Vivian Keeler, who is the Vice President of the HypnoBirthing Institute, which is an international organization that's been around for almost 30 years now. You're really going to love this interview and hearing what hypnobirthing is about and what it is. And before we get started, I need to let you know that a doula is a birth support person. We've referenced the term several times during the interview. A doula is not medically trained, but they are trained in how to best support a woman during labor, how to help them be more comfortable, how to educate them about perhaps what stage of labor they're in, and also how to best support whoever's with them, their partners or mothers, whoever it is that's with that woman during birth. They are like the angels of childbirth, like seriously, they're wonderful. So need to let you know that before we get started. Here we go. So I'm here with Dr. Vivian Keeler, who I have known forever.
Seems like it.
Yes. No, I seriously have known her for probably close to 15 years now, maybe 14. The reason I met her is because I taught prenatal yoga forever, for a really long time, and we connected because she taught a hypnobirthing class, which is absolutely wonderful for birth. So I did the class with the birth of my second daughter, Eva. I was just blown away by it. Like, I had friends that told me to do it with my first birth, and I was like, no. I'm fine with my midwife, I'm fine with my husband. And then my birth did not go as planned. So for my second, I was like, I'm lining everything up. So I took Vivian's class, I had her as a doula, and she was at my second daughter's birth. And she's here today to talk about hypnobirthing. She is the vice president of the Institute of HypnoBirthing, which is like an international organization. It has a reach in, like, how many countries is it in?
About 46 countries now.
46. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. So she's going to talk about her own journey with hypnobirthing and how she got into it and how she became the vice president. And also she's going to tell us some about what it is for listeners who don't know. So why don't we start there? Like, how do you describe hypnobirthing?
Well, hypnobirthing is a childbirth education program that is based upon the idea that birth is normal, and that as women, our bodies know how to give birth, but our culture has trained us to fear birth. Most modern women are really worried about giving birth. This method really builds confidence. It helps them release their fears. It helps them understand how their body works and avoid sort of that fight or flight stage that many women get in when they're really afraid.
Yes. Tell us about the fight or flight stage.
So the nervous system is really what it's all about. And the autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts. Sometimes we call it the emergency room and the healing room. And our bodies are really designed to function about 95 to 97% of the time in the healing room or the parasympathetic nervous system. However, in our culture, so many of us are in high stress mode all the time that we end up in the sympathetic nervous system, which is sort of like the emergency zone, which really our bodies are designed to function about 3 to 5% of the time for true emergencies. So in birth, a lot of times when women are in an environment that is stressful with strangers, bright lights, equipment, and they're afraid, their brain and nervous system pick up this information and kind of make their sympathetic nervous system dominant, so they get into that stress zone. And then it actually affects the physiology of the uterus, and those uterine muscles, instead of opening gently and easily, constrict, and blood flow changes, hormones change, and birth becomes difficult and painful instead of normal, smooth and easy.
So basically, when a woman is freaking out, then her uterus picks up on that and says, hey, stop all of this. Like, we're going to create a lot of...
Yeah, and it's really a primal response. Just like other mammals, if we sense that we're in danger or it's not a safe place for us to give birth, our body, being very intelligent, shuts down, stops the birth so that we can escape or defend ourselves. neither of which is really appropriate in the birthing setting.
Right. So it's sort of like the cat that wants to go away and hide under the bush and has her kittens there. Or I actually had a cat that crawled into a drawer. Like,
yeah.
She knew how to open drawers. So she crawled into a drawer, very dark, and like wanted to be away from everybody so that she could relax and have her birth. Except that these days we can't really be away from everybody. I mean, we could, but
most people choose not to.
Right.
So the environment for birth is really important. As much as we can leave a woman undisturbed would allow her body to function at its best.
Yes. So how do the hypnobirthing classes teach a woman how to relax and put her into that less fearful state, the state where she's more comfortable?
So there are many, many aspects of this course. One is, in terms of hypnosis, is to help her identify any limiting thoughts or fears or emotions that could get in her way of normal birth and help her to release those and then replace them with really positive affirmations and visualizations for her birth. Then also giving her tools to focus deeply on her baby and her body during birth instead of fighting her way through it, working with her body. And then there are many other aspects. Conditioning deep relaxation with some CDs that are listened to over and over again, positive thoughts through affirmations, breathing, comfort measures with her partner, really empowering her to make choices that would allow her to have the birth that she wants.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so some of it is a process of, here we have all these tools that you can use, and we're going to teach you some of these tools, and you practice them so that you can become relaxed in birth. And also ask her what you need. So perhaps from her partner or her support person, whether it's her mother or a doula or whoever that is for her, a nurse, whoever that is.
Right, helping to build a really powerful support team around her and giving her the confidence to speak her needs as well.
That's fantastic. I know when I took the course, I learned so many things. Like, I loved the rainbow relaxation that goes on. I listened to that every night. And when I was teaching yoga and a lot of my students would take this course, same thing. They loved the rainbow relaxation. Nobody ever stays awake during it, right? Everybody's out by like orange. But it's that type of, that's what you mean when you're saying like we condition the body to relax. It's like, okay. And that was definitely true during my birth. Like that CD would start and we had it on like replay forever, right? Right. So the CD would start and I would drift off. Like I would just drift off because I was already used to doing that. I had been practicing doing that. So the surges would come and go. What some people call those contractions, and hypnobirthing call them surges. They would just come and go over the body. And my body was used to relaxing.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. As a doula, it's really interesting to me to observe women who have prepared in different ways for their births. And gosh, the hypnobirthing mothers just are so calm, and the births generally are more gentle and peaceful. And then I do so many of those now that I forgot what it was like for a woman who hadn't used it. And then, you know, to see the other example, just very extreme, more suffering, really.
Yeah, more suffering.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, struggling and like fighting their way through it.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely true. I remember the video of my birth is very, very boring. Like I'm just lying there, basically.
Right.
Like I'm not even making noise. I mean, I will say some women need to make noise, some women don't. But for me, that relaxation process was just so intuitive and deep that it is just like, you know, you can't watch that video for more than 2 minutes without being like, is something going to happen? You're like, no, not really.
That's what's so interesting, that normal birth is boring, you know, and what we've been taught is normal, what we see on, you know, from the media is dramatic birth. And, and hypnobirthing is really designed for a drama-free birth. connecting with your body, working with what nature has provided you. And you probably would change the channel because it's, you're watching someone, you're wondering, are they asleep? Are they just breathing? What's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's back up some. How did you first get into it? Like, how did you first hear about it? Did you use it for your own birth, or did it come after that? Tell me about your journey to it.
It came after my own birth. I am a mother. I have 2 daughters, and they were born at home. I didn't have hypnobirthing, but I had a midwife who prepared me really well, and really those days that I gave birth were really the best 2 days of my life. I would so do it again if I was 30 years younger. But I came away from my birth feeling, both of them, feeling really powerful and joyful, and was really excited about my experience. And as I was talking to women, I realized that most women weren't coming away from their births like that. Many of them were feeling confused about what happened, disappointed it wasn't what they thought, and that made me sad. So I thought I should do something about it. So I became a childbirth educator, and also became a doula and started supporting women in birth. And then I kind of stumbled upon this hypnobirthing thing. I had a conversation with a friend who was a psychologist, and said, have you ever thought about hypnosis for helping women? And I said, no, I don't really know much about that. But it caught my interest, and I went home, started Googling, and I saw, oh, there is something. It's called hypnobirthing. Wow. And just so happened that there was a training the very next day in Miami. So I thought, I must be meant to do this. I called the instructor, tracked her down at the hotel and said, can I come? And she said, yes, come. So I went and I watched and I listened. I thought, this sounds fantastic, but maybe it's too good to be true. So I tried it out with a couple of willing clients, and I was blown away by their births. So different than the others. And been doing it ever since. And that was probably 16, 17 years ago. And the births just keep getting better and better as the awareness increases. As doctors and midwives start to understand the method, they get very excited about it because it makes their job easier as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's less management that has to go on.
Right.
There's less medical interventions that have to happen.
Right.
Not have to, but that do. There's less medical interventions, period.
Yeah, so most hypnobirthing mothers are asking for less, not more. They're working with what nature has provided them, and they don't need a lot of intervention in most cases.
So were you a chiropractor before you got into childbirth education and the hypnobirthing?
Yes.
Or after? Before?
Yeah, okay. My original training is as a chiropractor, and I've been doing that for longer than I care to admit. 31 years I've been in practice. I think that training really gave me a trust in the innate wisdom of the human body, which has led me to want to birth naturally and normally. And then it just kind of went from there.
So you're opening a new center, correct?
I am, yes.
Okay.
In the next few months, hopefully, we'll be open in Aventura, North Miami Beach area. And we'll have all sorts of wonderful services for women during the childbearing years and after. Classes, yoga, hypnobirthing, of course, chiropractic and massage and acupuncture and all sorts of cool things.
So it's really like a women's center, like focused on not just birth, but those childbearing years, even beyond.
Yeah, actually. Wellness for women.
For women. That's amazing. I don't think South Florida has a center like that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I had a friend come down from Chicago a couple of years ago who wanted to open something like that, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing here. And she said that there were centers in like Chicago and New York, but like Miami had nothing. This is amazing, I think, like so needed and such a great area so that Fort Lauderdale can access, Miami can access. It's like right there in between where you can get good services for women in both those areas.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
So how did you get from hypnobirthing instructor to vice president of the International Hypnobirthing Institute?
Well, hypnobirthing just kind of took on a life of its own. I enjoyed teaching these classes so much and still do. That I also was invited to be a trainer to train birth professionals to teach the class. So I've been doing that now probably 7 or 8 years, and I've had so much fun traveling all around doing it, even I went to Australia and Holland and, spreading it throughout the world. And just through that work, was invited by the founder, Marie Mongan, to take on a bigger role with the Institute, taking on some administrative tasks as well as we try to continue its growth and understanding throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. And Marie Mongan is in her 80s now, is that correct?
She is. Yeah. What an incredible woman. She is amazing, still writing and directing and working on a new book now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like an updated version of the original hypnobirthing book?
She recently updated the hypnobirthing book. We have a new edition now that came out last year.
Okay.
But now she's working on a book. I think she told me it's going to be about happy babies, happy mothers, happy doctors. How everybody can be happy.
Right. Interesting. That's fantastic. How can women find these classes if they're interested in taking one?
They can go to the HypnoBirthing Institute's website, which is hypnobirthing.com, and there they'll find a tab for parents, and under that parents tab it'll say find a instructor, and you can click on that and put in your city and state zip code, and it'll pull up a list of those people who are certified Mongan method hypnobirthing instructors. And this is really important because there are a lot of people that claim to be teaching hypnobirthing, but it's not really the real deal. So if you go to that site, you'll find people who are certified and have been trained properly and have that gold seal endorsement, so that you know that you're really getting the full course.
Oh, great. And what if there's not a class near them? When I was running the prenatal yoga company, I would have women email me and ask about the hypnobirthing. And I had this one woman who seriously drove like 200 miles to take her class because she was so invested in taking that. But not everyone can do that.
Right.
So what do you recommend for women who don't have an instructor or a class by them?
What I would suggest then is to buy the book and perhaps find an instructor who is nearby, and perhaps she could Skype you into her class.
Oh, yeah.
Or over Skype some instruction. But at the very least, get the book, and there's a CD that comes in the book that you could listen to. It's not the Rainbow Relaxation, but it would give you a little taste of what it might be like, and start there. But reach out. There are a lot of instructors around the world, and I'm sure somebody would take you under their wing and help you even if you're far away.
Okay. Is there a place to download those relaxations too? Like, are they MP3s now?
They can purchase them from the HypnoBirthing Institute, and there are download cards now that they can send you, and you can download those tracks.
Oh, wonderful. So how can they access your classes? Like, I know you're listed on that site, obviously, too, but can you tell the listeners about your own website and how they can find the center if they're in the South Florida area?
Sure, thank you. You can learn more about us and our services at AmazingBirthsAndBeyond, all spelled out, .com. We run classes in Broward and Dade counties various times. The course is a 5-week series, and it comes with the textbook and the CDs that we've been talking about, and lots of printed affirmations, and it's designed for a mom and a partner. Really, it's a comprehensive childbirth course, so you don't need to take it and something else. It really covers everything you need to know, and we'd love to have you join us.
Great, thank you. So do you also get women coming in without a partner who want to take the class?
Sure. This course doesn't require a partner to take, but if you will have someone with you during your birth, whether it be your partner, your mom, your sister, a friend, they're welcome to attend so that they can learn how to best support you through the birth. If that's not the case, as it is for many women who are doing it on their own, it still works, and you can come alone if you'd like.
Okay, great. Vivian has affected like thousands of women and their babies through the years, and she's really beloved professional in our community. So I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, and thank you so much for having me. It's just been such an honor to work with you over the years, and the clients that we've both worked with has been so much fun, and I hope we continue.
Yes, me too. That was Vivian Keeler. After the tape stopped rolling, we continued to talk about how important it is for a woman to find the right provider. And it is so, so important. So I felt compelled to share this with you. Here, once again, is Vivian.
Last year, Marie Mongan updated to a 4th edition of the HypnoBirthing book, and some really interesting changes in the book. The basic philosophy is the same, but new attention to helping women understand the choices available so that they choose a provider, a doctor, a midwife whose vision of birth matches with theirs. Mm-hmm. Because what we've noticed is that sometimes women prepare beautifully for their births, but they've chosen a provider who doesn't really support their preferences, and then without that support, it's more difficult to get the birth that they desire.
Yeah, but definitely I used to talk about that when I was teaching yoga. Pick a provider that one you trust, first of all. Primarily before anything else, pick someone that you trust. And 2, that is on board for the type of birth that you want, as well as talk to other women who have used that provider, if you can. Sometimes you can't, but it doesn't.
It's so true. It's probably the most important decision when planning your birth experience, that you choose a provider who can support you in your preferences and your vision of birth. Sometimes women choose their providers from a list, or their friend says, oh, I love my doctor, even though they didn't have the greatest experience. And many women don't really know for sure if their doctor really believes in a woman's ability to give birth normally until they're there. And sometimes it's too late. So we really emphasize in this book to communicate with your provider starting from day one, not wait till you're 40 weeks and say, oh, this is the kind of birth that I want. But each time you meet with them, talk to them about your wishes and your vision for birth, and then really listen to what they say. And what I mean by that is they're going to tell you who they are if you listen. And trust your gut feeling. If you're leaving your appointments feeling joyful and excited, then that's probably a good fit. If you're leaving feeling worried or uneasy, trust your gut feeling that maybe you've chosen the wrong match. And then, look further and talk to women. Find out who's supporting women in birth. Talk to a busy doula or a nurse who knows what kind of practices providers have. Because there's a wide variety of ways to give birth, and we're not here to say one is right or wrong, but to encourage you to find what's right for you and then own it and find someone who will support you in it.
Yes. There's so many groups today on Facebook and online that can tell you, yes, I use this doctor and they really support this. Mm-hmm. There's some really excellent providers out there.
There's really so many.
What a wonderful interview with Dr. Vivian Keeler. I just absolutely love her. I had so much fun doing that interview. She does such a wonderful job of explaining what hypnobirthing is and how it can benefit women and their babies and their partners too. Partners often want to have just as good a birth with their partners as they can, right? It's important to dads, to wives, to anyone who's trying to support a woman during labor. If you have a hypnobirthing class by you, I say go take it. Seriously, don't hesitate. Often women will call my practice because I do custom hypnosis for childbirth, and I will tell them about the class and see if they can take that first. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't because of their schedule, or perhaps they're facing more issues during their pregnancy, like some anxiety and depression going on. I am a prenatal and postpartum anxiety and depression specialist, so they want to come in and work on some of that stuff, and we also use hypnosis during that process to prepare them for their birth, but also to reduce anxiety during their pregnancy. I have a free hypnosis on my website, actually, for a better pregnancy that women absolutely love. So if you go and join the newsletter over at drlizhypnosis.com, you'll get access to that free hypnosis for a better pregnancy. So if you like today's episode, please share it with a friend. Maybe someone who's pregnant, or maybe someone thinking about getting pregnant, or maybe someone who didn't have the birth that she really wanted and wants a better birth the next time. All of those, I think, would appreciate hearing this episode. We're at the end here. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. If you're pregnant, a beautiful birth, and peace, people. I'm out.